How to become a child psychologist. Becoming a child psychologist means choosing to devote your life to listening to and supporting children with psychological difficulties. This psychologist can intervene in various cases, particularly in children encountering psychological disorders, excessive shyness, violence, systematic disobedience, etc., generated, for example, by a shock or a difficult family environment. Depending on the seriousness of the patient's condition, the psychologist's intervention ranges from an interview aimed at providing advice to therapy resulting in complex support that is spread over a long period. What is a child psychologist? Child psychologists evaluate and treat children and adolescents who have developmental problems or are experiencing emotional difficulties and help them cope with stressful situations. Child psychologists are also trained to help children who have suffered trauma. Child psychologists can find employment in various places. They can work as school psychologists, open their private practice, or work in hospitals. The child psychologist can practice on his own by opening a private practice. He is then considered as a liberal professional, or work in a collective structure, hospital, clinic, school, PMI, maternal and child protection, CMP, medico-psychological center. The function of a child psychologist? The child psychologist works during sessions which generally last from 30 minutes to 1 hour. The number of sessions varies according to the severity of the disorders affecting the subject. Generally, the first session provided requires the parent's presence so that the psychologist can understand the child's experience. For the 4 or 5 other sessions that follow, the child continues the treatment alone. The psychologist gives him evaluation tests to measure his intellectual capacities. The child psychologist also considers the age of his patient to define the number of sessions and the level of difficulty of the tests. The last session is devoted to the assessment, and parents are again invited to attend. Child psychologist education requirements. The most qualified child psychologist candidates have at least a PhD. Applicants with a bachelor's or master's degree will face fierce competition among manipulated applicants. Interested students should begin their careers with a major in psychology, such as a bachelor's degree, as most graduate programs require it for admission. In an undergraduate program, students will take courses that educate them about the human mind, child development, learning processes, and the many ways a family is structured. For applicants to practice independently, they must acquire a PhD. On average, this type of degree usually lasts around 5 years. After completing a graduate program, applicants must complete a 1-year internship to learn the trade's ins and outs. Internists will learn to interact with and interview patients and to take notes on important patient information. Child psychologist job description. There is a big difference between a child psychologist and a psychiatrist. One professional diagnoses and treats alone, while the second can also provide prescriptions. Child psychologists will interview patients to assess their mental status, analyze and perform evaluations, determine the best treatment for a patient, and prevent the onset of mental disorders. Child psychologist salary. The job prospects of these professionals are expected to increase at the national average rate for other careers. The national median salary for all psychologists was around $77,000, according to 2008 reports. Salaries also depend on the sector in which a professional works. Health center positions pay the highest salaries with an average of $68,000, while personal and family services positions are around $57,000. How much does it cost to become a child psychologist? Psychology degree programs cost about $40,000 per year, but tuition fees vary widely depending on the school you choose. The costs of doctoral programs vary widely and range from $10,000 to more than $40,000 per year. What is the demand for child psychologists? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the employment of psychologists is expected to increase by 14% from 2018 to 2028, but the expected growth varies by specialty. How many years of school to become a child psychologist? To become a child psychologist, you will need a bachelor's degree obtained in 4 to 5 years and a master's or doctorate that can be obtained in 3 to 7 years, depending on the program you choose. The National Board of Certified Counselors offers the title of Certified National Counselor. To apply for certification, you will need at least a master's degree in counseling and 100 hours of postgraduate counseling supervision in the last 2 years. You must be approved by a colleague with a master's degree or higher in mental health. Subscribe our channel for future videos. Visit our website holisticmeaning.com for more informative articles.